Yo, what's up? My name's Mashy, and today I'm going to be doing a run of Oracle of Ages for submission to marathons. I'm gonna put a disclaimer here. This run can be done either as a solo run or as a precursor to a linked co-op run. Without further ado, I will get started in 3, 2, 1, go. So like I said, this is Oracle of Ages. This is for the Game Boy Color. As you can probably already tell, I'm playing on the Japanese version. Japanese version is the fastest version for speedrunning, mostly just for text. However, there's also faster save and quits. We can play on the English version if necessary. It doesn't lose that much time, but we do prefer Japanese just because it is faster. And I am going to be playing the All Essences category. So, unlike any percent, we're going to actually have to complete all the dungeons. And we're going to be getting the essence at the end of each dungeon, and then completing the final Black Tower segment and going to the final boss. So we're essentially doing the intended percent, but we're not really doing everything intended. The start, there's really not much going on. Just a couple cutscenes. The first thing that we're going to be noticing is I'm going to be doing an RNG manipulation. So this game has a pretty predictable RNG. We're going to be able to manipulate that through hard resetting. So anytime that you power on the console or you press the reset button on the console, that's a hard reset. And that will set the RNG state back to a default position. When you get to the title screen, that state is going to change every frame until you get to the file select screen. Once there, it's not going to change until you get into the game. And once you're in the game, only certain actions are going to change that RNG value. The biggest ones that we're going to be able to control are sword slashes and digging, as well as screen transitions. The other thing, of course, enemy movement and anything involving enemies will also roll RNG. So any screens that have enemies on it could potentially be harmful to an RNG manip, but some of them, they only call RNG very sporadically, so we can actually use them to our advantage. Like I said, the main way we're going to be telling where we're at in the RNG value is through sword slashes. Now, sword slashes have to call RNG for the weirdest reason, and that is every time you slash the sword, it makes a noise. There's 3 different noises it can make. There's a low tone, a mid tone, and a high tone. Now, that's why it has to call RNG. It has to know what kind of tone to make. And it just does it randomly, but because it's not really random, we can actually use that to figure out where we're at. So there's going to be a pattern. We're going to follow that pattern when we slash our sword repeatedly. You'll see it coming up fairly shortly. We're going to be doing the first RNG manipulation. I actually already did the hard reset before starting the run. So this entire section is manipulated. And we're just about getting ready to start the run for real now. We're just going to go ahead and get our sword, and then we're going to be on our way. Now, like I said, sword slashes change RNG, so we don't want to slash our sword any more than is necessary. Slashing bushes changes it a little bit more because it has to also account for, is something going to drop from the bush? Same thing is going to happen when you dig up items. It's going to first roll the RNG when you dig up the item, and then it's going to, well, first it's going to be like, okay, are you going to dig up an item? Second, it's going to roll the RNG again and be like, what item did you dig up? But we're not going to use that too much. Here is the Meiku tree. We affectionately call her the waifu tree. She is being attacked in the past, and we're going to have to go to the past and save her. If you aren't already familiar with the core mechanic of this game, it's time travel. So we're able to go back and forth between the present and the past, and there's about 400 years in between. So the landscape is a little bit different depending on which time period you're in. And you'll also kind of be able to figure it out based on the hue of the overworld. Like, this reddish hue means you're in the past, essentially. But here we're going to be coming up on the Black Tower. Now, the Black Tower, that's the main evil headquarters that's going to be built over the course of the game. And we're going to be doing our first RNG manipulation right here. There we go. We're not going to get the payoff just yet. We're going to have to go ahead and get our shovel. So we're going to go around this construction site and talk to the foreman, and he's going to give us a shovel to help dig out these piles of dirt around here. And like I said, digging also increases RNG, but those are planned into the route. And we're going to come up to this next screen, and we're going to dig. And we're going to dig up a 100 rupee. Now, this is entirely manipulated, and was the entire reason for the RNG manipulation in the first place. We need a total of 220 rupees in order to buy everything that we're going to need. Being able to manipulate 100 rupees from the ground is really useful. Now, I'm also going to be attempting to continue this manipulation. This is what we call extended manip. Don't believe that's right, but we'll see. Extended manip means we can then go ahead and get ourselves a second 100 rupee at the end of this sequence, which will basically be all the rupees that we need for the entire game. Now that doesn't look right. So that those keys patterns are different depending on the RNG, and you can pretty much tell what you're doing based on that. I might still be able to salvage this. I just have to be a little quick about things. Okay. Normally, under normal circumstances, you're going to have to do 7 extra sword slashes. So I'm going to try and avoid doing any of those and see where we're at. There we go. Okay, we still managed to get it. We were pretty close, I think. So by saving the Meiku tree in the past, we can now talk to her in the present, and she's going to go ahead and give us the seed satchel. So the seed satchel is going to be very useful throughout the run here, and it comes preloaded with ember seeds. Now, ember seeds are pretty self-explanatory. They're going to be able to burn things and light torches. So that's going to give us access to the graveyard, which is where Dungeon 1 is located. Now these kids are afraid of ghosts, so they think the ghost is coming out, so they run away. But we're gonna go ahead and burn this tree to find a secret grave, which when we light the torches in here is going to reveal the graveyard key, which will get us to the back part of the graveyard and get us to Dungeon 1. There's not a terrible amount of things going on in Dungeon 1. The main thing is that we're going to be trying to go for another manipulation after completion of Dungeon 1. And you're going to see me killing a lot of enemies. And that's to spawn Maple. Maple spawns after killing 30 enemies. And she spawns on certain screens. She's a witch that flies around and only spawns on specific screens. And the reason we want to spawn her is we're going to be doing a manipulation for a potion and a ring. Now, this game has a lot of different rings. Some of them are really useful. Like, there's a power ring that increases how much damage you do. There's, like, rings that increase your defense. There's rings that will increase the amount of rupees you get. So on and so forth. There's a lot of different rings in this game. The main thing is that we're going to be trying for the Power Ring level 2. Now, the Power Ring level 2 increases damage output by 2, but it also increases damage taken by 2. What that means is the sword has a base power of 2. When you add 2 to it, it becomes 4. So when you get the sword upgrade, we're not going to get it in this run, but that has a standard, I believe it's a base power of 3, which will increase to 5. I'm not entirely sure on the exact numbers, but you get the picture. Now, the increase in damage essentially means you're going to be taking about a full heart of damage from most things. So it's kind of a high risk, high reward situation. But thankfully, you can equip and unequip rings pretty much at your leisure. You can do it all day. Now, I purposely want to kill multiple waves of those little ghosts during the mini-boss there, and that's because we need to get to 30 kills before finishing this dungeon. And we should definitely be well on our way to that. And here is where we're going to be doing the first hard reset of the run, within the run. And there I used sword slashes to figure out the RNG. And we are looking good so far. I know that we're good because we got that heart drop from the left Stalfos. And we are about to go fight the first boss, which is Pumpkinhead. Now this boss is fairly easy. All you have to do is pretty much just slash him a couple times so that he drops to the ground, pick up the head, and then you'll want to slash the ghost and then throw the head at the ghost while it's against the wall, and you'll get a double hit. And that it will be enough damage to kill it. But we're not done yet. we are about to do the second part of the RNG manipulation for Maple. Okay, that didn't work for some reason. That's okay. We can back this up. We don't need to do this right now. We have backups for this. That just means we're not going to be getting the Power Ring level 2, and we're not going to be getting a potion just yet. It's not a big deal. There are backups for this. I think what happened is I slashed one too many times. Before I transitioned onto the screen with Maple. But here we are, we're going to be heading into the Fairy Woods. The Fairy Woods is home to Dungeon 2. You can see it right there. But before we can go to Dungeon 2, the fairies are going to want to play a little game with us. They want to play hide and seek. So they're going to go hide, and we're going to have to find them. But that's not all. They're going to mix up the forest. So screen transitions here are a little weird. You're going to see it when I go this way. I can transition up and down, and it'll change where we're going. As long as you memorize the path, it's going to be the same every time. So it's not too crazy. But it can be a little weird the first time you go through it. But now they're going to fix the forest so we can go to Dungeon 2. Wait, that's not supposed to happen. We're supposed to go to Dungeon 2 now. What happened to it? Well, Dungeon 2 just broke, so we're gonna have to find an alternate way to get to Dungeon 2. Now remember, this game is all about time travel. So, what do you think the answer is gonna be? That's right, we're gonna be able to go back in time to before the dungeon broke. In order to do that, we're going to be getting the Harp of Ages. So this is the musical instrument of this game. This is going to be giving us the access to go back and forth through time. Starting out, we're only going to be having one song, which is the Tune of Echoes. The Tune of Echoes allows us to activate dormant time portals. We'll be seeing the first time portal as we exit this house here. It's that tile right to the left of the house. So we're going to be able to use the harp and activate that tile. Like so. And this is going to be the first way that we can control going back to the past. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have a really good way to get back to the present. Other than, there's that one-time portal right there in town. That's going to be our best way to get back to the present. But later on in the game, we're going to be able to get other songs that are going to allow us to get more access to going through time. So as you can see, this area is a little bit different than past. There is Dungeon 2, but the wall it's walled off. we're not going to be able to get in right now. But if you notice, there's a crack wall. And in true Zelda fashion, a cracked wall means use a bomb. But we don't have bombs yet. So how are we going to get in? This is where this quest comes in. So we're going to be going on a little bit quest. We're going to be getting ourselves some mystery seeds. So mystery seeds, what they do is a mystery. And the queen is actually looking for these. So we're going to be getting them for the queen. And she's going to be rewarding us with some explosives. That's right. We're going to be rewarded for getting seeds with explosives. So the Queen's Guard, she's going to find us and be like, whoa, you found mystery seeds. Come with me. He's going to take us to the castle. And we're going to meet the Queen, and she's going to give us the reward. But the actual use of mystery seeds is that they copy different seed types. So every time you use one, it's going to have a different effect. And that is random. It'll randomly replace one of the other types of seeds. There's the Ember Seeds, which we've already seen. There's Pegasus Seeds, which make you go fast. There's Gale Seeds, which warp you around. And then there's Scent Seeds, which attract enemies. Now, when you drop a seed, it has the one kind of effect. But later on, you'll see that each seed has a different effect when you are able to throw them or shoot them. But I'll get into that later. Right now, cutscene, evil plan. You know what it's like. Now that we have bombs, we can finally head into dungeon number 2. Now with dungeon number 2, I didn't really get into it yet, but we're not going to be completing dungeon 2. Yeah, we're going to be doing what's called D2 skip. Now you're probably thinking, D2 skip, that means you're not going into dungeon 2 at all, right? No, that's not what it means. It means we're going to be skipping the completion of dungeon 2 by doing a series of tricks to sequence break our way all the way to the Pegasus Seed tree on Rolling Ridge, which is the area of dungeon number 5. Now to do that, we're going to be doing a series of tricks. Number 1 is we're going to be doing some more RNG manipulation in order to manipulate a like to eat us. Now you're probably like, why would you ever have a like eat you? But we're gonna be stuck in a tree, and the only way out is to have the like eat us. In order to get stuck in that tree, we're gonna be doing what's called a text warp. Now, text warps function basically like a screen transition. Except you're not going to the intended screen. You're going to a different screen. And the way it happens is by bringing up text on the same frame that you exit an interior area, like a cave or a house. There's one house in particular that is going to be used, and that is the outhouse, aka the toilet. We're going to be doing what we like to call in the community as toilet warp. That's right, toilet warp. And it's pretty self-explanatory. The hand in the toilet he wants paper. We don't have paper, but we do have ember seeds. And when you throw an ember seed into his toilet, he screams out that it's hot. So that's the text that we need. All we need to do is just set up our positions so that we leave on the proper frame, so that when he screams out, we're leaving on the same frame. So it is a pixel perfect setup, but it's fairly simple to execute. And what that does is, instead of taking you back to the overworld, all interior areas are located on the overworld map out of bounds. So it's going to take us to whatever screen is actually next door to it, which happens to be a cave in Rolling Ridge that holds an old man who lives under a bush. Now, when you go to exit that cave, you get stuck in that bush, which is where the manipulation for the like comes into play. Those guys are the most accurate snipers in the whole game. Hands down. Anyway, I'm about to do something interesting here. We're gonna go for a backup. First things first, we get the Rock's Feather. The Rock's Feather allows you to jump, which is very useful. Alright, let me see if I got this. No, I didn't. No, this isn't right. I'm gonna try this one more time to see if we can get the backup. We're gonna be trying to get the potion here. Let me try going through this pretty quickly. If we don't get it, it's not a big deal. I'm gonna do something else. Yeah, no. Alright. We're just gonna go ahead and do the regular manip. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna get me some hearts. Just an extra heart for safety. I know I'm losing time here, but it is what it is. So here is the outhouse where we're going to be doing the toilet warp. And there is... Nah, that wasn't right. Why didn't I hear the right? I probably went past it. You know what? I think I got it right. I think I know why it's not working. It's because I saved outside. I think I have to be saved inside. Because that's an extra screen transition, so because screen transitions change RNG, it messes with the whole manipulation. There we go. So that's manipulating the like. But that's only the first part of the trick. We still have another part to go. Now we have to do the hard part. Which is doing the cave jump. So this is sub-pixel manipulated, RNG manipulated, double frame perfect, bomb boost into an enemy boost to get over this gap. It's very difficult, to say the least. But we're gonna give it a shot. Alright, we missed the first try. So we clink our sword on the wall in order to manipulate our subpixels. Think of subpixels as like partial amounts, and you want it to be as far to the right as possible so that we can make it to the other side. The RNG manipulation part, where I slash my sword a bunch, that's to manipulate the enemies in this room. Then I have to get on the final pixel right before the gap. And then I have to pull a bomb and then throw the bomb. And then you need to jump. Throwing the bomb and then jumping are both frame perfect. Pulling the bomb, there is a few frame leniency there, so it's not terribly difficult, but it's still tight. Oh. And I just went ahead and completely missed that one. So the goal with the pause buffering is to get to the first frame of the 5th red flash. And then you want to hear for the gel enemy jumping in order to make your jump. That looks good. Okay. One thing to note is that pause buffering in this game is not free by any means. It's actually incredibly difficult because you can't buffer another pause out of a pause. The only way to do it is you have to time each of your pauses. And since you have to time them, if you miss it, you're gonna let more than one frame go by. So there we got our Pegasus Seeds. Now Pegasus Seeds, you're gonna see right away, they let you go fast. And unlike the boots in other Zelda games, you press the button once and then it's going to be active for about like 15 seconds. So you got plenty of time to just run around and do a lot of different things. But like I was saying with pause buffering, is that it's not free. You have to time your pauses. So what we like to do in order to time it is that we use the save and quit menu, which is a start and select input. So we kind of offset the start and select so that we have essentially 2 chances to hit our buffers. And you have to hit the right frames in order to hit the trick. There's no way around it. But yeah, that right there was the Moblin King. Fairly simple fight. All you just do is just throw the bombs back at him. Now, I'm going to be taking a safety save right here, because I'm fairly low on health. If I die, it'll send me back. So we're gonna take the safety save. We're about to do another trick here, which is a bomb jump. Oh, nice heart drop. So yeah, we're gonna do a bomb jump in order to get to this cave over here. Like at the end, there's that grave on the left-hand side. We're gonna do a bomb jump in order to get to that cave or that grave. This is going to put us back into sequence for the game. Now, unfortunately, I am not doing well right now. This is why I took that safety save. Thankfully, with bomb jumps, it's fairly easy to buffer. You have a pretty big window. Now, hopefully I don't die here. It doesn't matter, because even if I die here, it's just going to take me back to the beginning of this room here. So it might actually be best for me to take a death. But here we're going to be getting our flippers, and we're also going to be getting the shovel rope. Now this item, normally you find out about after you complete Dungeon 2, and this is the quest to get to Dungeon 3. Normally, in order to get into this grave, you have to meet Moosh the Flying Bear, who's sitting right there. However, because we did that sequence break, the event to find Moosh never loads. So we actually have to do that jump in order to get into the grave. But now that we've done that, we are now back in sequence, and we can go ahead and continue with the game. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to visit that seed tree there. One of the things with one of the upcoming seeds is that we're able to warp to those seed trees if we visited that tile. So we're going to need to come back there later on, so we might as well visit that. And then we're going to give the rope to this guy down here. This guy's going to make us a raft. The raft is going to get us to the next dungeon. But before we can use the raft, he tells us we need to get some better navigation. So we're going to go back to the present, and we're going to go find a cartographer. Now, this particular cartographer has been seen in Zelda games before. And you may know him. We'll see him fairly shortly, but before we do that, we're gonna meet Ricky. Ricky is the boxing kangaroo. Now, unfortunately, he seems to have misplaced his boxing gloves, so we're gonna go ahead and try and help him out here. Oh, there they are. We found them. They were under a pile of dirt on the beach. So we go give him his boxing gloves, and he's going to give us a hand. He's gonna be able to climb up cliffs. So he can jump up cliffs, and he can also jump across small gaps. This is going to lead us to our cartographer, Tingle. So we talk to Tingle, and he's going to give us an island chart. That's going to be our map to get us to the island. Now, another very useful feature of Tingle is that he gives the Seed Satchel upgrade. Now, the Seed Satchel upgrade, normally you're not able to get at this point in the game. However, because we did that sequence break to get Pegasus seeds, we now have 3 different types of seeds. And that is the requirement in order to get the Satchel upgrade, which now allows us to have 50 of each seed type. So we get to have 50 Pegasus seeds. We're going to be going fast a lot. But right now, we got caught in a storm. And yeah, that's not good. We're going to get shipwrecked on this island. And we're going to be greeted by the locals. These are the Tokay. They just stole all our stuff. Yeah, that's not cool. So we're gonna have to go get our stuff back. Thankfully, first guy right here, he stole our shovel. And he is very remorseful. In fact, they are all extremely remorseful thieves. And they will give our stuff back if we just talk to them. So we're just gonna go around collecting our stuff. This area also has a sequence break. Normally, you're here for a very long time. Anyone that's played this game casually will know the pain of this area here. But we're gonna come up on the shop here. This guy's got 2 of our items, so he's ballin'. He's gonna let us trade for one of our items at a time, as long as we give him our shovel. So we're gonna be able to do a little bit of a quest here. We're gonna be able to go get some items, come back, get some more items, etc., right? Well, no, that's not how it's gonna happen. We're gonna get our bombs, and we're gonna go ahead and get all of our items right now. So we're gonna go back to that shop. And one of the quirks about that shop is that when he gives you an item back, Link has to hold it above his head. But if he's holding something else above his head, he can't. And he's gonna just drop that item on the ground. So we're gonna go ahead and pull out a bomb. It's a frame-perfect bomb pull. Might take a few tries. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. There we go. So as you can see, that shovel is now on the ground, and we just did it again. We've got multiple shovels. We just got another shovel, traded that, just went ahead and duplicated shovels all over the place. And now we got both our feather and our bracelet, and we still have the shovel. So that right there is a super sequence break. And we're going to be able to finish this area off fairly quickly. Normally, like, the way you do this is you come through here once without the bracelet. You get the flippers. You come back without the feather to go this way. And go down here. And that's going to get us to our seed satchel, which once we get the seed satchel, you're able to buy back the feather using mystery seeds. But you're still going to be unable to buy back the bracelet. But you can then go ahead and trade the shovel for the bracelet and have your feather still, so you can come this way. And this way is going to lead us to the harp. Now once you get the harp, that's when the major part of the sequence that we're skipping comes into play. At that point, you're going to be able to do the Scent Seedling quest. So the Scent Seedling, there's a minigame that you do, and you'll get the Scent Seedling. You have to go ahead and plant that Scent Seedling in a specific spot, and then you'll have to make your way to the present. Like, you plant that in the past, and then make your way to the present so that you can harvest the scent seedling. So that you can get scent seeds, which will then allow you to buy back your bracelet. Yeah, we just skipped all of that. We're about to go straight to the dungeon. There we go. Dungeon 3. Let's go. So Dungeon 3, the main gimmick here is that there's that spinner in the middle, and there's these 4 crystals to the north, south, east, and west of that spinner. You break all 4 of those crystals, that spinner will fall to the bottom floor. And that's going to be where you're going to be able to use it to get to the boss. And actually, we're going to be doing another RNG manipulation here. This is one that I'm not very good at, but I usually like to try it anyway. This is going to be manipulating, if we do it correctly, it's going to be manipulating a very difficult fight. No, we didn't do it. That's okay. We're still going to be able to do the fight. It's just not going to be manipulated. And what the fight is it's 4 Armos Knights. Now, the Armos can only be killed by 2 methods. 1, by bombs, and 2, by scent seeds. Now, we never got scent seeds. So our only method of killing these Armos is with bombs. So you're probably thinking, it's not that bad, right? Well, these guys move very erratically. And because of that, it's fairly difficult to hit them. And we're about to come up on that fight right now. I'll max out on bombs, and here we go. 4 Armos Knights. First one is guaranteed. You're able to hit that one just by placing a bomb and then hitting the switch. The rest, as you can already tell, they like to just get out of the way of your bombs. But that wasn't too bad. Here's your obligatory tile puzzle, or tile room. It's not really a puzzle. You just sit here for X amount of time waiting for these tiles to come flying at you. Ooh, extra Pegasus seed drop. That's always nice. Even another one. I'll take it. Even though we were already maxed out. And here we got the seed shooter. So, like I said early on, we're going to be able to shoot seeds. So now we're able to shoot those ember seeds, and they're going to be able to do damage from afar, including being able to break these crystals. Another neat thing is that seeds can be ricocheted. So seeds can bounce off the wall up to 2 times before they disappear. So you can use that to do some pretty cool trick shots. Like that one there to hit that switch, which now brings the spinner down to the bottom floor. This guy just doesn't want to get out of the way. And we're about to come up on the mini-boss of this dungeon. This is Subterror. He hides underground. He's a coward. But it's still a fairly easy fight. All you gotta do is just dig him up, slash him out. One thing you probably see me do, but don't really realize what I'm doing, is I actually, when any item drops from the top of the screen, I try and lower the camera so that when it does drop, it ends up falling a shorter distance. And right there, we ended up getting ourselves some scent seeds. Now you're probably like, okay, aren't you supposed to only be able to get seeds from the main trees? Well, those bushes are an exception. You see, those bushes, they are respawnable, so they'll just constantly respawn scent seeds, even if you've never gotten them before. So that's our way of skipping the scent tree, because we do need scent seeds later on anyway. And now we are about to head to the boss of the dungeon. This is Shadow Hag. She doesn't like people looking at her. So in order to actually hit her, we're going to need to do some ricochet shots. It is possible to hit her with 3 shots per cycle. However, the timing is extremely tight, and it's super easy to just do 3 cycles of 2 hits anyway. And that is Dungeon 3. So here we're gonna get a little bit more story. Story doesn't really matter. They're building a tower. Tower is being built a little bit. Okay, whatever. Moving on. Coming out of here, we're going to be meeting the 3rd animal companion. This is going to be Dimitri, the swimming Dodongo. He's being harassed by some of these Toke, we go ahead and give them something nice to eat. Give them a nice Ember Seed. They run off because it's too hot for them. And then Dimitri lets us ride on his back to the mainland, which happens to be right there. It's like not even that far. But this is where we get to make our decision on which animal companion we're going to be keeping for the rest of the game. We're going to come in here and go ahead and buy the flute. We buy that flute because that's going to give us Dimitri. Dimitri is the best animal companion for this run because not only is he the fastest, buying the flute is super easy, as well as he has the fastest area coming up. So each animal companion has their own unique area, and it changes depending on which animal you have. And you have to rescue 3 carpenters. Now the 3 carpenters are in very awkward spots, usually. But for Dimitri, it's super easy. But before we can go ahead and rescue them, we actually have to go and befriend Dimitri. So the fairies come in and tell us that someone is in the forest, and we gotta go see who it is. Turns out, it's our animal companion. Say hello to Dimitri. He got lost in the forest, but we found him, we rescued him, everything's good. And for our efforts, he's going to give us his flute. And one of the great things about Dimitri is that you can pick him up and run. Normally, Dimitri is extremely slow on land, but by picking him up, you can run super fast. And now that we have Dimitri, we can go ahead and rescue these carpenters. So one of the other abilities of Dimitri is that he can swim up waterfalls, and he can swim against currents. And 2 of the carpenters, they are on top of these waterfalls, so you do need to use Dimitri in order to get here. And once you rescue them, they will build the bridge in like 3 seconds flat. I don't know how they do it. But that's going to lead us into Symmetry City. So just like the name suggests, this place is entirely symmetrical. So anything that's on one half of the town is on the other side. But we're going to come in here and we're going to talk to this lady here. And she's going to tell us a little bit of story about how their central nut has been broken, and the brothers are supposed to go fix it. But we're going to go talk to the brothers. We don't have to talk to the first brother. He doesn't want to talk to us anyway. But when we go and talk to the second brother, he's going to tell us that he can't leave because of the rules of Symmetry City. And he's going to give us the tuning nut because we can break the rules. But unfortunately right now, we don't have a way to go ahead and get it repaired. We have to make our way to Patch, who lives on the top of the restoration wall. In order to get there, we're gonna need some upgrades. And the upgrade that I'm thinking of is a song. We're gonna come and talk to this secluded composer who's had like this mental block. We come and play a song for him, and he has that eureka aha moment, and he now can compose a song for us. This song is going to be called The Tune of Currents, and it's going to allow us to increase our power from time travel. So we're going to be able to now go from the past to the present anywhere that we want. So wherever we stand on a screen, when we go ahead and use that Tune of Currents, that's where we're going to end up in the present. So we're going to use it right here, and you're going to see we're going to end up in the same exact spot in the present. This area here is essentially a little tutorial for teaching you how to use the Tune of Currents. It's gonna essentially show us, okay, this is how we do it. And this is also going to introduce us to another mechanic, which is seeds. Not the seeds that we've been using, but seeds that grow into stalks over time. So in the past, these things are seeds that you can just push around, and then when they have fertile soil under them, will grow into a beanstalk. We're gonna go push this one over to the right, so that way we can go ahead and create a beanstalk on the right hand side. And we also pushed that rock in order to move the water current to the other side so that we can pass. Normally that section is impassable otherwise. And with all of this, we are now going to be entering the area of the restoration wall. Now this area normally is fairly difficult, but remember, we have Pegasus seeds. We can climb this wall fairly quickly. We're not supposed to have these Pegasus seeds right now, so climbing that wall is a piece of cake. So we reach Patch, and what does he want us to do? He wants to play a game. He's gonna send enemies after us while he repairs the nut. And we're just gonna knock them into the hole, and that's it. Now, if we didn't do that fast enough, he'd be ramming a minecart into the nut. So now, before we do anything else, we're going to go ahead and go back and finish up Dungeon 2. We've got to go ahead and finish it at some point, right? So we might as well do it now. It's gonna be fairly quick, so don't really blink or you'll miss it. We're gonna come in here. I'm gonna do a safety save, just in case. And we're going to do another text warp. This time we're going to be doing a Mystery Seed text warp. There's an owl statue in there, and that owl statue will say text when you hit it with Mystery Seeds. So we do a setup so that we leave on the same frame that the text appears, and we end up out of bounds. Now, ending up out of bounds allows us to run straight to the end of the dungeon and get the essence. Super quick. And now, before we do anything else, we're gonna do Dungeon 5. You're probably thinking, we did 1, we did 3, we did 2, now we're doing 5? Yeah, we're gonna do 5. Just because of the way the game routing, doing 5 now makes more sense. So we're going to use that bomb flower that we got from defeating the King Moblin to break a boulder that is crushing the Goron Elder. And he's going to give us the key to the dungeon for saving him. Go ahead and refill on Pegasus Seeds. And we're going to go ahead and use that Tune Occurrence to get to the present here. So, you're normally supposed to have the Tune Occurrence at this point when we got here, but we didn't have it earlier. So we're going to make use of it now. This pathway here is going to lead us to Dungeon 5, which is the Crown Dungeon. Now the great thing about Dungeon 5 is that you don't actually need the item from 4 in order to beat this dungeon. Oh, okay. So we are gonna get a key. We're gonna get a couple keys. We're gonna need to do a bunch of key things here. Because the boss key is all the way in the back of the dungeon. So in order to beat this, we're gonna need all the keys. So there's 5 keys in total. We already got 2. We're about to get our 3rd. This room has invisible flooring. But, I know what the path's like, so don't have to worry about it. And now we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves the dungeon item for this dungeon, which is the Cane of Samaria. So if you're familiar with A Link to the Past, you probably know what the Cane of Samaria does. It creates a block. That block can then be used to weigh down switches, or it can also be used to fight enemies. It's not as useful in this game as it is in A Link to the Past, where it shoots out projectiles in 4 directions when you get rid of the block. But it's still fairly good. Most of the puzzles here just rely on using it to weigh down a switch, or you can use it to prevent movement in a certain direction. There's a couple like multiple statue puzzles that you have to like block the path. I'm gonna skip that key for now. We'll be coming right back for it. So this mini-boss fight is kind of annoying, because the ball disappears every once in a while. And it's usually just enough to be really annoying, like that. So now that we have the mini-boss portal, we're going to go ahead and go in here and get the item, get the key out of this section here. And like I said, with the puzzles where you have to block the path, this is one of those. Fairly simple puzzle. And now we can go to the back of the dungeon. And in the back of the dungeon, that is where we will find our boss key. Now the puzzle here is the raised platform puzzle. You got to figure out how to get across. It's not that bad. And here we go, we've got the final puzzle of the dungeon. This is the boss key puzzle. Normally, in order to get all the stuff surrounding the owl statue, you usually want to use the Cane of Samaria. But there's a pretty easy solution that doesn't involve it, so we're able to go ahead and skip and equip there. I'm gonna go ahead and fill up on seeds a little bit and go ahead and get some health. Not really gonna be necessary, but might as well. And here comes one of the most interesting bosses in this game. This is Smog. Smog, you play a little game with. So he breaks up into parts, and you have to put them back together in order to hit him. And that's where the Cane of Samaria comes in. The parts are going to be circling these blocks, and you end up having to go ahead and break the blocks. Like, put the Cane of Samaria blocks in certain positions so that their parts collide with each other and become big again. And we do that a few times. This is going to be the last one here. This one's one of the cooler ones. The solution doesn't really make sense at first, and then it just comes together. I'm just going to let it go all the way around. There we go. So that's Dungeon 5. Next up, we're going to head to Dungeon 4. So like how I said earlier, the routing just kind of works out this way. It does really just work out. Because now we're going to be able to just go straight back to this area here, which is where Dungeon 4 is located. And we're going to be able to put the tuning nut back in its place. When we put the tuning nut back in its place, that helps fix Symmetry City. And because of that, it's going to calm the volcano that's erupting. And calming the volcano reveals the location of dungeon number 4. So we are now inside Dungeon 4. This is one of the most difficult dungeons in general, because there's lava everywhere. It's a fairly long dungeon, and you really have to go a long way to even get to the mini-boss. But here we're going to be seeing the return of these block puzzles. Those block puzzles are never really too difficult. But I'm going to do a little skip here. That jump is kind of tricky, but it skips having to go around the entirety of the room. And now we're going to say hi to my friend, the goaltender. So this guy, depending on how he's feeling on that certain day, can either just block 100 shots, or he'll just let the first shot go through. He was feeling fairly generous today, only blocking 1 shot. And as you can see, I'm already down to half health, and we still have quite a bit of the dungeon to go. Of course, I say that and I get 3 straight heart drops, but you get the point. And, you know, even more things just getting in my way. Here's a tile puzzle. Fairly straightforward. Like, most of the puzzles in this game, like, once you just see the solution, they're fairly easy to replicate. This is where things get really tricky. We're doing a trick shot there, and then we're about to run into a very difficult section. I'm gonna have to hit 3 Stalfos while on a minecart. If I don't hit them, the door won't open. Yeah, first try. Easy peasy. If I didn't do that, I'd probably have to sit on the left side here and just slash my sword until one of them came over. Not fun. So now we're taking the minecart, which is going to take us to the mini-boss. Yay! We're about halfway through the dungeon. The gimmick to this mini-boss is fairly simple. The sword flies around and can hit him. All you gotta do is make sure the sword hits him 3 times, and it'll break the shield. Once the shield's broken, then he'll just start trying to ram you, and then you can just attack him. And now that we've fought the mini-boss, we can finally get to the item of this dungeon. But first, we have a new type of puzzle. This is the floor puzzle. As you can probably tell, change all the tiles to the same color and the chest will appear. There's a couple of those floor puzzles throughout this run. All of them have, like, a simple solution. I think a few of them have multiple solutions. But yeah, we got the switch hook. So a switch hook is like your hook shot of other Zelda games. You're going to be able to grab items from afar, except with a twist. Instead of just bringing the object to you, you now switch places with that object. So here you're going to see a pretty good example of it. We're going to go ahead and switch with that pot. That skips half of that room right there. Because they never really implemented ledge mechanics into this game. So the ledge doesn't really exist in terms of like the switch hook. And here we go, we've got a second floor tile puzzle. This one's a little bit trickier than the first one, but still not too bad. So we're about to come up on the boss room. Yeah, that's right, there's the boss room right there. But we don't have the boss key yet. So we're gonna have to continue diving deeper into the dungeon to find our boss key. So these rooms are timed puzzles. The lava comes out, like the lava goes away for a little bit as you pull the lever, and then once you release, the lava will come back slowly. And then we just have to switch hook our way across. Here's a little pot puzzle. That switch has to be held down in order for the chest to be there. So you have to make a way for you to get back. And that gives us the boss key. So now we can go ahead and fight the boss. So before I go in there, I always like to make sure I'm at full health. You never enter with full health if you don't kill that guy. So this is Eyesore. If you played Zelda 1, this is basically a Patra. But, oh, that was a close fight. But basically what you do is you just switch hook with the middle eye, and that'll stun him so that you can go ahead and do some slashes. So now, with Dungeon 4 complete, we can now start making our way to Dungeon number 6. This dungeon is one of the more, how do I say, annoying dungeons to get to. Because we're gonna have to start playing some mini games. But before we do that, we're gonna have to actually get to Dungeon 6. We don't have a way to get over there yet. but we're gonna go ahead and do a text warp. So this is a fairly easy text warp to do. You just hit the button to the side and go down. Easy peasy. And now this is bringing us back to this area, which is the area of Dungeon 6. We've got a fair few things to do here. Number one, I'm going to need some more rupees. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here and burn this tree. This guy's going to give me 200 rupees. We wouldn't have needed these rupees if we managed to do the potion manipulation earlier. But because we don't have a potion, we're going to have to buy a potion later. Alright, there we go. So that is Goron dancing. So we play that minigame in order to get the brother emblem. So we are now essentially a Goron. Because we are a Goron, they're going to allow us to go through their cave system. And that's going to bring us to the top here. Actually, yeah, I want to get the rupees right now. So there's 100 rupees right here. We need 300 rupees in order to do everything that we want to do. We wouldn't need any more rupees at this point, but the potion costs 300. And now we're going to be continuing with some more mini games. We're going to need to do a lot of trading and a lot of mini games to get trade items. The first of which is going to be the rock brisket, which we get from target carts here. We sit in the minecart and shoot rupees. Hit them all and we win the prize. Now, the next minigame is going to be the shooting gallery. This is going to get us the lava juice. We only need 100 points in order to win this. You get 130 points for hitting the angel and blue square next to each other. And that setup is guaranteed to show up in the middle. At least it's going to show up once. Guaranteed. There it is. So we just go ahead and hit that. It gives us 130 points. And then every other ball, we can just hit downward and we'll get 0 points for it. If we didn't hit the ball downward, we lose 50 points each time. So we need to hit the ball each time. And we just do that for the rest of the minigame. Fairly simple. And winning that gives us the lava juice. And now with those trade items in tow, we are now going to be able to start doing some trades. First things first is we're going to go ahead and feed this guard. This guy has been guarding this cave door for who knows how long. He's hungry. So we're going to give him a rock brisket. And he is going to give us the vase of his ancestors. Now we're going to go to the past. We're going to go to that same guard. Except this is his ancestor. And he's looking for some kind of family heirloom that he can pass through the generations. So we end up giving him the vase. And for our efforts, he gives us the Goronade. Now, Goronade is essentially the Goron version of an energy drink. And there is a Goron who is very sleepy right now. And he needs that extra boost. So we're going to go give him an energy drink. And for giving him an energy drink, he's going to let us play his new game. The prize for the game is a key. A key for Dungeon 6. So we need that key. Now what is this game? It's the Big Bang game. We're going to have to dodge bombs as he throws them at us. We just have to dodge bombs long enough for him to just stop. Now, yeah, after a while it starts getting a little crazy, but as long as you just keep moving, it's not bad. And there we go. We've got the key. Except Dungeon 6 is unique in that there's 2 keys. There's 2 dungeons. So we're not done yet. This guy here, he sees that we have the key, and he wants some lava juice. He's gonna give us the letter of introduction. Now the letter of introduction is going to allow us to speak with the head Goron, and he's going to be able to give us the other key. So, in order to get that key, though, guess what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to play dancing again. Alright, so that is going to do it for dancing part 2. He's going to give us the other key. And now we're able to go ahead and enter dungeon number 6. So like I said, dungeon number 6 is unique in that there is actually 2 dungeons. There's a past version and a present version. We're going into the past version first because we have to. Because the unique thing about this dungeon is that changes that you do in the past affect the change, like affect the dungeon in the present. So we're gonna go ahead and blow some holes in the wall, essentially. Like blowing holes in the walls and then coming back in the present and those holes will still be there. Gonna take this room a little safe. Kill off the blue wizard there by using a Gale Seed. So there's the first hole. We're gonna blow open this wall as well. And then there's one more wall that we're going to open up before we get out of here. I'm going to restock on some items here before we go. And now we're going to be doing another manipulation. This manipulation is going to be for the mini-boss. Hopefully. So we're gonna try and manipulate this mini-boss so that it's easier for us to do. I want to say there is a heart in here. Maybe not. Okay. We should still be okay. Everything here is entirely scripted. So that we can get that whiz robe to spawn on that particular side of the wall. Or side of the hole. So that we can skip going around multiple times. And if everything went according to plan, we should be able to do this. There we go. And that is the mini-boss. Completely manipulated. Normally, when you fight that guy, there's a lot of RNG to him. He'll either like circle around, he'll do like really slow, he'll shoot little projectiles at you, he'll dip out of the way. There's a lot of things that go wrong with that fight. So manipulating that fight was a really big deal. And that gives us the mermaid suit. Now mermaid suit changes our swimming mechanics entirely. So we can now go faster in water. But at what cost? We now have to mash the D-pad in order to move in a direction when we're swimming. And now we're gonna... It's time to test your luck. This is the RNG boss key. After the first pull, it's a 1 in 4 shot of getting the boss key every time. So we're at 2 shots right now. First pull is guaranteed to fail. Third try. Let's go. And now that we have the boss key, we can go ahead and go back to the present, or back to the past, and finish up the dungeon. So we have mermaid suit, we have boss key. We're ready to go. We're ready to finish this dungeon. First things first, we have to get some small keys. We still need a few keys in order to finish this dungeon. And these keys are going to be gotten through the use of the mermaid suit. So remember that wall that we got rid of earlier? Well, there's this dark water behind it. And with the mermaid suit, we can now dive and go underwater. And we can now explore this area, which will have a key at the end, of course. Alright, there's our key. We have one more key to get, but luckily that is on our way to the boss, so let's head over that way. Once again, do not like blue Wizrobes, so have to get rid of him. This is my favorite room in the game. This spinner is completely pointless. Except it's not. And that's because of continuity. You remember that room with the 2 spinners in the present? Yeah, that's the same room. They built another spinner over 400 years. It's just going to show you that it's the same dungeon. So here we got a crystal puzzle. We just have to get all 6 of these crystals onto the 6 platforms at the top. I didn't really mention it, but when you're underwater, you can use whatever item is on the A button. But the B button you can't use. The B button is used to surface and dive. So you're only able to use one item at a time, which is why we put our switch hook on the A button. One final puzzle before we head into the boss. Now this is Octagon. He is an Octorok. The gimmick here is that occasionally throughout the fight, he will go underwater. So fairly self-explanatory. We're gonna fight him on land and underwater. And there we go. Go ahead and pick up our heart container for victory. And we're gonna go ahead and leave this dungeon. That's dungeon number 6 done. So now, we just got word that the guards outside of Ambi's palace, they're gone. We can go ahead and get in there and rescue Nehru. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little skip. This is called guard skip. We're going to just walk right in. Just come up the front door and drop a scent seed and walk right on in. Like there's a little quirk with those guards in that if you drop a scent seed, they don't detect you for a little bit. There's like a little bit of a timing window to it. But yeah, you go ahead, drop a scent seed, run on in, and that skips having to press a bunch of buttons in the courtyard in order to find a secret passage. And here we go. We're fighting Varen, who has possessed Nehru, and her weakness is mystery seeds. So we hit her with mystery seeds, and that reveals her true form. Then we can go ahead and use the switch hook to pull her out of Nehru's body and slash her with the sword. Do that 3 times, and we're good. Now, unfortunately, Queen Ambi comes in, unknowingly is going to be possessed by Varen now. But at least we saved Nehru. all is well, right? Now that Nehru is safe, she's going to be able to teleport us out and take us to safety. And that's going to help fix some of the things that were already messed up because of Varen possessing Nehru there. We brought back the monkeys. That's the big thing there. Saving the monkeys is the ultimate goal of this speedrun. But now, Nehru's going to teach us the final song. This is the Tune of Ages. Tune of Ages allows us to go back and forth through time freely. We're not going to have to worry about finding portals, or we're not going to have to worry about only being in the past. We can go back and forth whenever we want, wherever we want. But right now, we do have one thing that I need to do, and that is I need to go get a potion. So, normally at this point you would have the potion already, but we weren't able to get that potion from the RNG manip that we did. So we're going to go ahead and buy the potion from the potion shop, which costs 300 rupees. And there we go. Now that we have the potion, we can start making our way to dungeon number 7. Now, dungeon 7 is in Zora Village. So we have the mermaid suit, we're able to swim in the ocean now. And we also have the Tune of Ages. That's going to allow us to go from the present to the past wherever we want. Which, we want to go into Zora Seas. The only way in is through this area here. This island is slowly drifting. So, in the past, it's in a different location. That allows us to get to the other side of the island and enter the Zora Seas area. Now, inside Zora Seas, you're gonna see some muck in the ocean. This ocean has been contaminated. There is a fairy who can clean the ocean. However, she has been transformed into an Octorok. And we're gonna have to go ahead and save her in order to clean the ocean, because when we get to Zora Village, we're gonna talk with King Zora. Now, King Zora, he's not feeling too hot right now. So we're gonna give him a little pick-me-up. We're gonna give him that potion that we bought. And that's gonna heal him from his illness. And once he's healed, he actually lives an extremely long time. Zoras have a very long lifespan. Because here we are in the past. We're gonna go ahead and visit the palace. And there's King Zora. So we gave him the potion, and he's gonna get better. But first, we're gonna have to go and talk to him in the present, because he's gonna give us a little reward for saving him. And that reward is a key to the library. Now, what's inside the library? That is where we're going to find the magic fairy powder that's going to save the fairy. So we're gonna go check out that library. But one thing to note is that we are going to be doing what we call bookless. This is going to be a skip that is going to allow me to skip getting the Book of Seals. Now, normally what we do here is you talk to the fairy, find out that she's been transformed, and then you go to the library in the present, and an old man is going to give you the Book of Seals. So if you figured out the puzzle. But, I'm gonna go ahead and save, just in case. But we're gonna go ahead and skip all that by doing a bomb jump. It's fairly similar to the bomb jumps we've done before, except this time, we're gonna have to do an input in midair. Alright, that should be good. There we go. And we just read the book all the way at the end, which now got us to the end of that invisible maze. Normally, how that goes is you need the first book, and that's gonna tell you where the first pathway is. And that pathway doesn't appear until you use the book. And then you follow that pathway to the next book, which will then, you read that, and that shows you the next pathway. And so on and so forth until you get to that final book, which brings the pathway to the front of the old man with the fairy powder. But we do that bomb jump, and we're able to just barely get to that book before we fall in the pit, and we can read it, and it'll open up that pathway, and we don't have to worry about getting the book to begin with. And now we go ahead and cure the fairy. She's able to clean the seas. Everyone's happy. We're gonna go back and we're gonna go talk to King Zora again. And he's going to be like, this is awesome. You clean the seas, you now have permission to go talk to Jabu Jabu. Yeah, we're going to Jabu Jabu. And we're not just gonna go talk to Jabu Jabu, you know? You know how it is. We're gonna go inside Jabu Jabu. That's right, the next dungeon is inside Jabu Jabu. There we go. Inside Jabu's belly. So this dungeon makes heavy use of the mermaid suit. As well as a new mechanic, which is water level changing. So we're going to be doing a lot here. We're going to be going through this area a few times. So, if you thought the water temple from Ocarina of Time was bad, this is basically the water temple. There's 3 water levels, and we gotta raise and lower the water level to get through this. So, This is where we're going to raise and lower the water level. This button here lowers the water level all the way. And then the top two buttons will raise the water level one level. So we want it to be on the bottom floor right now because we want to get this key here. This dungeon is about as linear as it gets, because there's only so many things you can do at one time. So we're gonna go ahead and make our way to the top floor again so that we can raise the water level. But now we're on the other side. So now that we're on the other side, we're going to be able to do more things over here. And yeah, this dungeon is a lot of just running back and forth. Or swimming back and forth, or just back and forth in general. Grabbing ourselves a key here. And we're gonna go fight the mini-boss. So this mini-boss is the anglerfish from A Link to the Past, or Link's Awakening. And we get to burst his bubble by shooting seeds at it. And we just hit it a bunch of times, and there it goes. And by defeating the mini-boss, we will now be able to get the item of this dungeon, which is the upgraded switch hook. So upgraded switch hook, the switch hook level 2, or the long hook, it has longer reach, and it also is a lot faster. So it's really useful. But the main thing is the longer reach. That's going to allow us to switch with things that we normally wouldn't be able to because they're too far away. Like, take that pot in this next room, for example. This is a fairly big gap. There's no way across other than with the level 2 switch hook. And now, once again, we're back on this side, and what are we gonna do? Bet you didn't guess, we're gonna lower the water level again. Because now that we have the level 2 switch hook, there's another key on the bottom floor that we can get. And we're gonna need a lot of keys. So with the level 2 switch hook, we're able to get out of there, or get in and out of there. And we're going to be able to use the Cane of Samaria to hit the other block and get a key. Now with all of this, we're able to now go to the right hand side again. And you guessed it, we're gonna raise that water level again. This time we're gonna raise it all the way to the 3rd floor. So the 3rd floor, raising the water level all the way up, is gonna give us access to new things. Basically, we're gonna have access to more keys. Because if you look at the top of this area here, there is a hallway with a bunch of locked doors. And we need to get to the end of that hallway to get the boss key. There are 3 locked doors up there. We already have 1 key. We just need to get 2 more. First one is going to be coming over here. Back this way that we've gone a few times already. But now that the water level is up, we're going to be able to come over here and switch hook our way in here. And now, finally, there's just 1 more key to get. This one is really easy. This one's on our way back up to the 3rd floor. So back on this top floor, now that the water level's all the way up, this platform is all the way up. Like, that platform rises and lowers based on the water level. And now, because the water level's all the way up, we're able to use it and switch a hook across. Now that we have 3 keys, we're able to go through the entirety of the hallway. And there is our boss key. And then that platform right there, again, is because of that same platform that rises and lowers with the water level. Because the water level's all the way up, it's no longer being blocked by that platform. So we can go up here and get on the ledge to go to the main boss here. This boss, fairly straightforward. It's gonna shoot electrical orbs. When you shoot it, you have to switch hook with it and have it hit itself. There we go. Another cutscene telling us that the tower is now basically complete. Like, while we've been going around doing all these dungeons, the tower is now complete. And Varen is doing some evil stuff. Not the bunnies. Look, she just froze the bunnies. If that isn't motivation enough, we've gotta stop her. And now, by clearing Jabu of the foul deeds inside of him, we get rewarded. We get rewarded with the Zora Scale. So Zora Scale allows us access to the Sea of Storms, which we're going to be heading to right now. And inside the Sea of Storms, there is a pirate ship. You might have seen it before. I think we saw it when we were on the raft earlier. But the pirate ship, it just goes around in circles. It has no way out. But the Zora Scale is going to help them. It allows them to get out. So we're gonna go do some good old-fashioned trading. And we're gonna give them our Zora Scale in exchange for an eyeball. Now this eyeball is no ordinary eyeball. This is going to be the eyeball that'll let us get into dungeon number 8. I mean, you've definitely been keeping track. We're basically done right now. We just have that one dungeon left. But how do we get to that dungeon? Well, if you remember, down on the island, there's this little statue with an eyeball missing. We go put that eyeball in, and it opens up. And in here is where we're going to find our passage to dungeon number 8. So there's a whole bunch of little, like, trials that you have to do. You have to test your power, your courage, and your wisdom in order to make your way into the maze. So this maze is very annoying. There's a lot of very difficult enemies here, and you're going to take a lot of damage. But at the end of the maze is dungeon 8. We're almost there. The end is in sight. So I'm gonna go ahead and refill on some seeds, some health, and some bombs, because we've got a long dungeon ahead of us. There's a lot of things to this dungeon. So first thing here is, if you don't even have 4 different items here, like, you have to have bombs, you have to have an Ember Seed Shooter, you have to have the Cave Samaria, and you have to have the Switch Hook in order to even get access to the main part of the dungeon. There's a lot of utilizing other items in this dungeon. And utilizing, like, these switch blocks. The red and blue switch blocks are going to come into play quite a bit. As well as we're going to find ourselves another floor puzzle. Not yet, but we're coming up on it soon. Like, this dungeon really tests your knowledge of how things work. Like, spinners, switches, buttons, like, there's a whole bunch of things that you just have to, like, know how they all work. And it brings back a lot of concepts from earlier dungeons as well, like the floor puzzles. And that floor puzzle gets us the Power Glove. So the Power Glove, I love it. It's pretty bad. It really has no use. Aside from being able to lift heavier things. That's the only use. So you're going to be able to lift those blue sarcophaguses. And that's it. That's what the Power Glove does. So here's the mini boss. This is Blue Stalfos. Yeah, very, very original name. He's basically like Aghanim. He's gonna shoot regular balls, and then he's gonna shoot like these blue balls that explode. You just want to hit him with the regular balls, and then hit him when he turns into the little Keese bat Stalfos thing. And now we're on to the final floor of this dungeon. This area is a little bit different. We're going to be on a hunt for 4 ancient slates. Because the access to the final area of this dungeon is guarded by those 4 slates. And we just got the first of them. And we're going to be coming up fairly shortly on the little thing that'll show you this is where you have to put all 4 of the slates in, and once they are all in place, that will show the door to the next floor. This area right here is a nice little refill. I like to refill on Pegasus seeds here. It's always good to have a good supply of Pegasus seeds coming down the stretch. There's slate number 2. Coming out here, there's a hidden staircase under a sarcophagus. That's going to lead us to the boss key, as well as it's going to lead us to the other side of the train tracks so we can get through on minecart. And here we go, we got another tile room. Just gotta wait it out. And there is slate number 3. Now, the 4th and final slate is a very difficult one. First of all, we're going to have to fight 4 candles on ice. But if that wasn't hard enough, we're going to have to go through this underwater area. Not this one, but the next one. It's going to be whirlpools. So there's a current and a lot of holes. And we've got to navigate this area here. Like so. Then I'm gonna take the top path. Normally you want to go around the bottom, but it's fairly safe and consistent to take the top path. That's gonna lead us to our final slate. With all 4 slates in tow, we can go back to that central room and go ahead and place them so we can gain access to the boss. And now, this is a really cool area. There is a puzzle here. There's actually like 4 different puzzles combined together. What this does is it shows you the 4 weaknesses to the boss in the order that they're used. So the first one, you have to use your sword. You gotta knock back the hands back at him. Second one, you gotta use a bomb. You gotta hit him with bombs. And then third, you've got to use your seed shooter. I come up top here. Normally you're supposed to like ricochet the shots, but it's super easy to just come up top and hit them behind the shield. And then the fourth one, you use your power glove and hit these wrecking balls back at them. And that's the boss. Grab our final heart container and our final essence. We now have all 8 essences. It's time to finish the game. So before we go ahead and storm the tower, we have to go make a pit stop. We gotta go talk to the Maku Tree. So, Maku Tree she's going to go ahead and give us what is called the Maku Seed. And that's going to get rid of any illusions that the tower may try and throw at us. Basically, this is your check for getting all 8 of the essences. That's the real reason we're getting this right now. And we're finding out that this old lady happens to be none other than Twin Rova. Now, if this was a linked game, we'd be seeing the continuation of that story in the linked game. But in a regular game, you just see Twin Rova pop up for like a second, and that's it. You don't get that full thing until you play a linked game. Alright, so it's time. We're entering the Black Tower. This time, it's not really much of a construction zone. It's now a tower filled with enemies. So as we climb the tower, we're gonna see a bunch of enemies. Each room has a unique set of enemies in it. And we're gonna climb through and just ignore them all. I mean, I'm sure you can fight them if you want, but we have better places to be. And here we have reached the top of the tower, and there's 3 doors. We're going to use the Maku Seed here. And this Maku Seed is going to reveal that 2 of the doors are illusions. And it's going to reveal the correct door for us. And now we have entered the Black Tower proper. Here we've got a staircase maze. Pretty simple once you know the path. Just gotta make your way through. Another stair puzzle, except this time you're supposed to follow those flames, and I forget the exact pattern or whatever the way to figure out the solution there, but the flames I think will converge on one staircase or something, or there's one specific flame that you're supposed to follow. Either way, it's the same every time, so you don't have to worry about it. Just go to that that staircase. And now we're gonna fight Varen. So I did a safety save there just in case, because yeah, you never know. So this is the exact same fight as before, except this time she can drop spiders. Again, same exact thing. 3 hits and she's done for. And there we go. So that's phase 1. Phase 2, she's going to reveal her true form. And we're just going to have to fight her here. And there's these clone links flying, like, fighting around. They mirror your movement. And if you kill them, they drop hearts. So they're very useful. Alright, so that is phase 2, and now we are coming into phase 3. So this is the final phase. There's 3 different animals that she can be. She's going to start out as a beetle. That's the only phase that you can kill her in. After you do some damage to her, she'll transform into one of 2 other animals. She can either transform into a bee, or she'll transform into a spider. We want the bee, because spider can only be stunned with bombs. Alright, so we got the bee. So we're gonna have to do one more set of transformations. Hopefully we get a second bee. Nope, there's the spider. So we have to stun the spider with bombs. That's the only way we can kill the spider form. Now, spider form does a ton of damage. Like, look at that. And there we go. GG. And that is the run. Oracle of Ages, all essences. Wasn't pretty, but it is still within what I was considering to be my estimate. I am planning on estimating this at about 2 hours and 50 minutes to account for things that happened in this run, like failing D2 skip a couple times, or not doing a manip, or not getting a potion, or losing the potion, or things like that. So this is within reason. Now, if this was to be used as the precursor to a linked run, we would now be watching the cutscene, watching the credits, and then after the credits, we'll be getting a password. Now that password can then be input into the Oracle of Seasons game, and you'll be able to start up with the same file and everything, same file name with the same animal companion, but it's going to be the linked version of the game, which is going to give us the true ending. So this is like the little teaser telling you, oh, the story's not over yet. Twinrova is still out there, and they are trying to resurrect Ganon. So you go ahead and put that password into Seasons, and you play through that game basically the same as you would normally play through, with a few minor changes. And then once you get to the end and beat the final boss, you'll get a little extra cutscene, and then it'll open up a new area to go to for the final battles with Twinrova and then Ganon. So I'm gonna go ahead and wait for the credits to finish here. That way we can go ahead and showcase the password that pops up. Also, there is a save and quit text box. You want to go ahead and hit that save and quit so that you can save your game. Because you can also, instead of using the password, you can use a Game Boy Color link cable. And there is a link cable port on the Game Boy player that you can link to a Game Boy Advance. In my case, I use a Game Boy Advance SP, where I put the other game in there. And then you can go ahead on the... when you're going to create a new file, there's an option. There's the option for creating a new file. There's the option for using a password, and then there's a game link option, where you use a link cable, and that'll just quickly import your file. So that would probably be what we would end up doing for a linked game, because it is the fastest option. Entering the passwords does take a little bit of time, because not only do you have to copy down the password, you then have to enter it back in. But yeah, I thank you for anyone that has watched this far. I know this has been a bit of a rough run, but for a marathon, no reset run, I'm content with it. And here comes the end screen. After we go through the end, there is our password. And we're going to go ahead and save, and that is everything. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.